Welcome to another episode of Everyday Amazing with Sky Alton. Here we highlight inspiring people with amazing stories to tell. Today I have someone from Sac State. He is CEO of Choice Mentoring Inc. His name is Kaifa Yates. Let's get into it. Thank you for taking the time, man. I know you're a very busy person, and I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to come talk to me, today.
Yeah.
First off, tell me, what is Choice Mentoring Inc.?
Choice Mentoring Inc. is the online platform that allows mentees and mentors to connect together. It's a digital platform that I created. I graduated at Sac State with my master's in education technology, and part of my thesis in my project was really trying to build something that helps support the youth in the Sacramento community.
Right.
I've been in the educational field for about 15 years as an after-school program leader, as a site coordinator, as a mentor, as a tutor.
Wow.
And I've done so much. And what I've noticed is that a lot of our mentees, all our young youth in the Sacramento are lacking the opportunity to connect with individuals who are have particular interests, professions at an early age. And so I created this digital platform to bridge that gap. As you know, man, a lot of the kids are online right now, right?
Right.
A lot of kids are online, and that's what they're at. They're on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and so I wanted to bridge that gap, right, and really to make it more seamless and more easy for them. And so the way the app works is that if you live in a particular area, you can connect with a certain mentor.
Got it.
And so with each mentor, based on your interest and who you are, you can connect with them. You can chat, you could video chat with them, you could go to different workshops, professional development, academic support, learn about real estate, learn about entrepreneurship, really just giving them the game and the gems to be successful. And so I learned that that's the best way we can kind of interact with these kids.
Right.
Even for those kids who love to be in person, it's another opportunity for these other kids to try something different.
Right.
Just to be on the online social platform, but it just really opened up more opportunities for our youth in the Sacramento.
I think that's amazing too, because like you just said, a lot of the kids are online now.
Right.
A lot of people, I mean, that's where a lot of people get their news from. I'm one of them.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah.
I get my news from social media, Facebook. So having that information at a finger click away, I think really helps. Like you said, helps the youth.
Yeah.
So something that popped into my head as you were talking about this, man, is like you've done so much, but like how did you get started? Was this something that you always wanted to do, or did you yourself have a mentor, and so it kind of pushed you in that field?
To be honest with you, I've been sitting on this idea for the past at least 5 years, 5 to 6 years, right? Didn't really have a name to it, but I had an idea that I did want to do something in Sacramento that connected with mentors. I think for me, it was just really want to do more in my field in education. Right. When I came up with the idea, it really was during the pandemic, that the idea evolved, right? When you're sitting at home, you're just like, you're working, but then, you have the more opportunity to kind of do more things. And I said, no, what, I've been sitting on this idea for so long. I have so many notes and information that I've been carrying on. And like I said, I was part of my master's program. You really have to come up with a thesis, an idea, and a research project. And so I was like, no, what, I could take this research project and I could make it into a real business. And I just started evolving with it, and it started really working out for me. And I just know, actually, I spoke the idea to a lot of my mentors and told them what I wanted to do, and it was all supportive. They all loved it. Every time I brought it up, people was like, man, that's an amazing idea. I love it.
Right.
Yeah, so
and
I just kind of jump into it.
You solve, two potential problems with one solution, right? Because like you say, your thesis, and you have been sitting on this idea anyway, so it's like, and like you just mentioned, man, COVID gave a lot of people time to kind of think about what they wanted to really do in life. So I'm glad that hearing that during that time, you pretty much found your passion and was able to capitalize on it, right? And make it work for you. I love hearing stories like that. I love hearing how people, turn something potentially like COVID into something productive. Right. You didn't, just sit at home and give up and like, oh, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
It's still growing though. So my mentoring is still growing. I mean, we just became official in October, and so right now we are just growing right now with the mentors and the mentees. I have a good amount on my list right now, but still a lot to come from, right? So when I came up with this idea, Choice is actually my name of my son. So my son's name is Choice, and so I want to play on his name and kind of make it a little different. So just sitting there and just like you said, in the pandemic, and you're just thinking about different ways to kind of make money or different ways to kind of be supportive in the community. It just felt right to do it.
Right. And then, how old is your son? Like,
my son's 10.
10.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's turning 11 in April.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And so he knows that was started, or
he's
always gonna be a part of that.
Yeah. You're trying to build legacy out here, right?
I love that. So something, because this is a mentor program. So you yourself, who has been some positive mentors to you that really stand out, that's kind of helped you?
No, I'm gonna go recently, man. My most powerful mentor I have right now is my pastor, Pastor Philip Cadeau Jr. Calvary Christian Center. He has been instrumental in the way I move, how I think, how I do things. Just understanding how to connect the Word to my life, and when I'm going through trials and tribulations, I can really connect with them, and he can help me and support me in so many different ways. So he's been very, very instrumental to me. My father, my dad, has been like the number one, like, oh my God, hardworking man that I ever seen in my life. My dad is from West Africa, Liberia, Monrovia. He came out here when he was 18 years old, without a dime in his pocket, right, and made something out of it, right. He became an engineer with 2 masters, right, bachelors. Worked in the Bay Area and just always provided for me and my brothers. So just seeing how he worked, how disciplined he was, and how adamant he is about what he wanted to do and finding his passion kind of fueled me, to kind of find my own passion. At the time when I was growing up, man, at 18, 19 years old, I wanted to be just like my father, right? I wanted to be an engineer. Come to find out, engineer is not my thing. I'm not the best engineer. I'm very good at math and science. When it comes to engineering itself, it's not my thing. And I learned a lot in those struggles, right? And that's what actually kind of helped me involve this mentoring program, because I noticed that me going through that journey was not easy, right? And so I don't want any other youth to go through that same process. I want them to be as seamless, as easy as possible. And I think that a lot of times you need a mentor, somebody to really connect with, to know where you want to go, and know that anything that you're dreaming to do is possible. Right. It's possible, man. And I know a lot of the kids don't want to believe that. They don't see it. They think, oh, well, I just love shoes, or I love T-shirts. My biggest thing is really teaching them how they could turn that into a real business, into a real career. Think about the outside box of it. You know what I'm saying? You love shoes. What do you think you could do with shoes? You work for Nike. You work for Adidas. You could be a marketer. You could create their own. You create your own shoes. You know what I'm saying? You can do all type of different things. You just have to think outside the box. But a lot of our kids don't know that unless you have that conversation with them. So and giving them that confidence. So my father gave me that confidence, allowed me to be myself. He's very strict. He really wanted me to be an engineer. If you know anything of.
So how did he take the news when you shied away from engineering and you told him, like, listen, I think I'm gonna go a different route? He
was not happy. My dad was not happy, but he was very supportive at the same time.
Got it.
He wanted me to finish college. That was the biggest thing, right? He really wanted me to finish college, doesn't matter what degree. He would love it if I would have followed his passion, right? But it didn't just work out that way. Right. And to be honest with you, I was afraid to tell my dad that. I was afraid to tell him that I wanted to switch to be in education, which is most likely, for a man who left Liberia, Africa, to come to America to make money. You have to understand, education, we all know, don't make the most money. Right. You just don't. You know what I'm saying? Depending on where you're at, you don't really make the most money.
It's sad that it's that way, but it's the truth, right?
That's just what it is. Right. That's what it is. If you're in the educational field, you're doing it because you love what you do. Right. And so telling him that, it kind of hit him hard, because to him, he sees that, oh, wow, your life is going to struggle. You're going to be hard. But I didn't see it like that. I saw that I have to find my own way. Right. Right. And I have to find my own passion. And so, he wasn't happy, but, I think it all worked out. It was just, he kind of gave me a little side eye, but now he's bragging to all his friends about, me having a master's and working at Sac State and all these different things. So it worked out in the long run.
I like that. I like that you shared that, because I think a lot of people out there go through similar struggles.
Right.
Some of them follow in their parents' footsteps to a certain point, and then they get to that point where they realize, well, you know what, I actually think I want to go a different direction, or I actually like this better. And that's not always the easiest conversation to have, to confront your parents who you look up to so much, who inspires you so much, but you also don't want to disappoint them, and so having the courage and to go and talk to them and tell them like what your career path is, and then also having them support you, I think is big, because some people don't actually take that chance and have that conversation with their parents, and they actually miss out on what they're actually passionate about because they're so afraid of disappointing their parents, or they just don't know like what their parents' reaction is going to be. So the fact that you even like took that chance and you were brave enough to be like, listen, I know what you want from me as as my dad, but I think I can make this work.
Right,
and I think this is just kind of like my calling.
Right.
And and if your parents are always gonna want the best for you, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that he was so supportive and he sees like how it's working out now, I'm pretty sure like it was all meant to be in that aspect.
At the end of the day, it's all meant to be. Always all meant to be. Also working at being a CEO of Choice Mentoring, I'm also working at Sac State as an outreach coordinator for the Martin Luther King Jr. Center. And I have a lot of opportunity to interact with a lot of students on campus. And one thing that I've always asked these students is, what is your major? Right? And they tell me what their major is. And I say, what do you want to do with that? And you have to understand, 85% of the time, they do not know what they want to do with that major. They're just here and just happy to be here. My conversation with them is, you have to follow your passion, right? If this is something that you really want to do, you got to start researching it. You got to start getting into the internship. You got to start getting your feet wet, because you don't want to wait 4 or 5 years, graduate with the major in a certain particular career and not like it, right? And that's a whole nother conversation, but it's a lot of different things that happen. So you have to know what you want to do. You have to know where career you want to go, and you have to be adamant about it. And so my conversation just really finding your passion, knowing who you are, and trusting your instincts,
I 100% agree with you, because that was my journey to an extent. I had decided, I used to be a theater arts major, and that was my route.
Kind of like still doing the same thing?
Similar, right? Similar. So I was that major, and then I realized, I was like, I don't know if I want to major in that, because what if I don't want to do theater arts anymore, right? So then I switched to communication, just because I was always good at talking to people, always enjoyed talking to people, and I like networking, right? And that's a big part of communications. And so I started to go that route, but I never gave up on like what I wanted, my passion, which was, performing or just entertainment, anything in the entertainment field. So then I decided, I was like, well, I'll get the communication degree, right? And that will allow me to network and still talk to people, but I won't give up on what I'm really passionate about, which is, having my own thing, working in the entertainment business, talking to people. And so, like you said, that's a big part of it. I mean, if you don't know what you want to do with your degree, you can spend all this money, and then you end up working a job that has nothing to do with your degree. So it's kind of like, well, what did you spend that money for? And are you happy in that, right? And that was a big thing to me, is like, whatever I do, I want to make sure like I'm happy in it. And if I'm happy in it, I maybe won't trip about the money as much. And if I'm really good at it, it's going to make money, right?
I was going to say the same thing. If you're really good at it and you master your art, you're going to make money in it. That's just the way it is. You just have to, it's repetition, right? And when you continue to keep doing it, you're going to find different ways to kind of, it's always going to be the same, right? It's never going to be like, you're always going to be in the same field. Like, I'm always going to be in the educational field if I'm working at Sac State, or if I'm doing the mentoring with Choice Mentoring, or if I'm working at the Sacramento Black Chamber of Commerce. It's always going to be with the youth in some capacity. And it's always going to be some kind of money that's going to come, right? And God's going to provide. God's going to provide for you. And so I know we have to start thinking about finances and the income and all that, but following your passion is going to mean so much more
in the long run.
In the long run, and that's the reason why Choice Mentoring Inc. is so pivotal, is because we're reaching these kids at a young age. We're reaching these kids at 12 years old, and we're asking them, right, like, what do you want to do?
So they're already thinking about it. It's already cultivating in their mind. So as they get older, it just grows from there.
It grows from there. You know, by the time they get 17, 18, they already been knew what they want to do. They already got their feet wet in a certain area. They already got a mentor. And so now they just take off.
Yep.
And rather than waiting until they're 18 and then they're just trying to figure things out.
Right.
How many kids we got out here 18 years old, 19, and don't know what they want to do because they just haven't had the opportunity to do it, right? And so, you know, we just have to give them that. We have the ability to teach these kids and to educate them and to give them the best opportunities possible. But we have to do that as early as possible. We got to start having a conversation. Instead of having a conversation about them being basketball players or football players or all that, it's like, there's so many different careers out there. And so with my online platform, I'm connecting with mentors who are in all types of professions, right? I have mentors who are working at Facebook. I got mentors who are working for mentoring programs. I have mentors who are electric engineers, who are construction workers. It's all these different things that's going on in our world that you got to be connected to know where you're passionate at. So, you know, bridging that gap and having those conversations as early as possible is the best way I see these students succeeding.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So we're gonna dive more into that because there was something else that you just said that I wanna connect more. But we're gonna take a quick commercial break and then we'll be right back with Kaifa Yates and we're gonna dive more into this amazing conversation. So stay tuned and we'll see you soon.
Son, love is like the ocean. You have to tread the waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Jessica, will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
Welcome back to the show. So let's dive right back into it. So, you know, as we were talking about earlier, you know, I think this app is amazing. I think it's going to help a lot of young people. So what I want to know though is like because it can't be easy, you know, starting your own app, right? And putting all this together. So what has been the most challenging obstacle you've encountered so far, and how have you dealt with that? How have you overcome that?
I think for me, the most challenging thing is getting everybody on board with the idea. I think you can have a vision, have an idea, and people might like it and love it, but getting them on board to help you out and support you in that vision is the most challenging, right? You don't want to do everything on your own. I've learned in the first 7-8 months of it that I was doing everything on my own, doing the marketing, the logos, the business, the operations, the finances, and it could have a total. It'd be overwhelming, right? And I have boards, I have people on the board, but still getting them to be understanding what the vision is and where we're going. That's been the most challenging part. I think that's just having having everybody on board with you and growing with you has been the most hardest part.
I can attest to that because like you, I'm growing, right?
Yeah.
I am still in my growing phase, and yes, I would say that is very challenging getting people to see your vision, right? You know, because you know there's some people who support it. Yeah. But they support it from a distance, or you know,
they're part of it, but then they don't know where to go from there, right? And so it's your job as a CEO to start delegating that job, right? Delegating them based off their skills and who they are as a person, right? And so that's the challenging part, right? Because it's mine, right? It's my baby, right? It's not something that I'm thinking about. It's something I've been sitting on for the past 5 years, and I don't want to just give it to somebody who's not going to take it as serious. So sometimes be able to trust this person with this certain obligation has been a little bit harder for me. So learning to delegate and release and allow them to do the work, and if they make a mistake, hey, they make a mistake.
Right, they learn from it.
They learn from it, yeah.
Got it. So I think that's amazing because, like I said, I'm all on board with that. That would be the answer I would give if someone asked me that, because I'm running into some of that challenge. And then, like you said, learning to trust a little bit more people, and you know, you can't do everything on your own, right? There's a lot that goes into it. Another thing I kind of want to talk about is, you know, some of the work you do at the MLK. I know you touched on it a little bit, but you know, how long have you been working at the MLK Center, and then how did you get started with that? Right.
So I've been working at the MLK Center for 2 years. 2 years, okay. So I am the outreach coordinator for the Martin Luther King Jr. Center. going on 2, going on 3 years. Prior before that, I was working on campus as a student assistant.
Got it.
For a certain program called Degrees Project. They do peer-to-peer academic advising with the students on campus. And so I was just working as a student assistant. And the director who oversees that, Dr. Watson, really loved what I was doing there. Really loved how I was working, interacting with the students, coming up with different workshops and ideas. So she just pulled me and said, hey, I have this center that's open and I've been open since 2015. We're looking for an outreach coordinator. Can you be a part of that? I was like, of course.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
That's exactly up my alley, and
Right.
I just got my degree, so yeah, I'm loving it. So yeah, I joined. So I joined the team, and what we particularly do, we work with the African American students on campus, help increase their graduation and retention rates for these particular students. We are a central hub located in Lasson Hall on the 2nd floor. We're typically open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Students are more than welcome to come in and to ask questions about all different resources we have on campus. We have a special space for these students to study, to hang out, and to connect. A lot of our students come from different areas throughout California and out the nation, right? So coming to Sacramento, a lot of times you want to see and connect with people who look like you culturally, right?
Representation matters.
Representation matters, right? We have about 30,000 students on campus, and 6% of them are African American. So that makes about 2,200 students. It sounds like a lot, but it really is not.
No, in the grand scheme of things.
In the grand scheme of things, when you're on a university campus and you're in a particular college or you go into your classroom, you don't really see people who look like you. Right. And so the MLK Center provides that space and an opportunity for us to build that family and that trust and that connections. And we have learned that when students are connecting and they know each other culturally, they're most likely going to graduate from the university. Right?
They uplift each other, right? I can attest to that because, I just graduated from Sac State last semester, and when we did
Congratulations, too. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Wasn't easy with COVID and everything like that, but I was so close to finishing that, there was nothing that was going to stop me.
Right.
So I just powered through. But when I did have classes on campus, I spent time in the Martin Luther King Center, and everything that you said, I can say is true because what I saw on campus was, Sac State likes to talk about how they have the most diverse campus, which is true. It is a very diverse campus, but as a student, I had noticed that there was a lot of different groups kind of just in one area, right? So it wasn't it wasn't an emerging campus, it was just, you had certain groups over here, certain groups over there, and and so, being a new student on campus, I kind of wanted to, be, like you said, be around people who look like me, or at least interact with people who look like me, because I didn't have a lot of people who look like me in my classes. I had 1 or 2. So when I first, experienced at MLK Center, it was like this safe space, right? I think the guy kind of, gave me the rundown of how everything worked, and he was like, it's a hangout. You can come here, you can do whatever. You can do your work here. You can talk to people. You can network with people, and I didn't have a lot of time in between classes because I was working in between classes, and I was going full time. I was working full time, but the spare time that I did, I always made it a point to kind of stop by and network and talk to people. And I used to just listen to the conversations that went on.
Right. And those conversations were powerful, man.
Right. Because you like you said, you have a lot of people from all over California, right?
Yeah.
Like I myself am from the Bay Area. You have other people like yourself from SAC, and then you meet people from LA. Just all over Fresno. And so having a place where everybody can connect and kind of share geographically like the differences and similarities of being African American and different parts of Cali was a kind of a cool experience, right? Because you talk about different music and we have debates about what's moving the culture, what's popular in the culture, and it's just without the MLK Center you wouldn't get that, right? Because I'm a communication major, and I myself may not be afraid of going up to a stranger and introducing myself and talking to people, but not everybody's like that. And so having a place that kind of makes that introduction for a lot of students, I think is really important.
Yeah,
right. And you can see how it's helped students, and like you said, more students are graduating, and it helps keep the retention rate down, and keeps everybody moving forward and uplifting. So I think it's amazing that you guys are around, and I think it's amazing that I want to say right place, right time, right? Because you started out, in a different department, but you already knew that you wanted to do education, right? That's you, right, all through and through. And so, God provides, right? It just kind of like, put it right place, right time, because you kept, doing your passion and sticking to what you love, and opportunity came up and just. Right there.
Yeah. I mean, the center was opened in 2015 by Dr. Watson and Dr. Tina Jordan. It was part of a strategic operation under the SACEP, which is a Student Academic Success Education Equity Program. And so everything you talk about networking, that was the vision of the center, right? And really seeing a need for our students and seeing a space for our students, was very, very highly needed, because we didn't have that at Sac State, right? And it's not the first, right? Other campuses have different centers that are very similar to ours, with different names, but never at Sac State. And so really opening this up and opening this opportunity really allows people to network, right? I think that's a key word that you said. Networking is almost the biggest thing that we all need to learn about throughout our lives, because who is going to matter so much more than just, on campus, right? So who is going to help you out in your profession, in your academics, in your social, whatever the case may be. Building that team of people who support you and guide you is really key. And so that's what we're teaching our students at Sac State.
I think that's amazing, man, and I'm glad that I was able to get you on the show and for you to share your story and how you got started. And I like I said, I think you're a very inspiring person. I think you like your network, I think, is huge, and I just I think you're in the right place, man. And I'm so glad I got to talk to you, at this level of your career, because I really think that you're gonna go farther than this, man.
I appreciate it.
I feel like you're gonna be big, and I want to be able to say, man, I remember, when he had just get the app up and he was growing it, and now it's everywhere, and he's a billionaire. He don't return my calls, but it's okay.
Never that, man. Never that. Yeah.
So I appreciate that. And man, I just thank you again.
No problem, man. And from the gratitude of our heart, from the MLK Center, from everybody else, man, I want to give you this sweater.
Oh,
Young
man,
King,
I appreciate
you know what I'm saying?
You.
This
I appreciate
MLK sweater officially. Not everybody has one of these, you know what I'm saying? The red.
Yeah. I appreciate you, man. I really do. Yeah, I didn't get to get one of these. This is amazing, man.
That's your graduation gift too.
Man, see?
Yeah, there you go.
I appreciate that.
No problem,
man. I
brother.
appreciate
No problem.
that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, and
no problem. Yep.
To everyone watching, thank you for the support, and I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. And once again, you can follow me at Sky_Alton. You can also check me out on YouTube at Everyday Amazing at Sky Alton, and I will see you next time. Thank you.